So welcome. So glad that you're all here. Hopefully you all had a terrific holiday season for those who celebrate, and that 2021 has gotten off to a booming start for you. My name is Alan Reed. I'm the Executive Director of the Chicagoland Food and Beverage Network, and I welcome you to our first event of 2021, a State of the Industry Report. I want to thank you all for continuing to be a part of this incredible group that we bring together on an ongoing basis. And 2020 was a rock'em sock'em year with over 60 virtual events. We'll do so fewer this year, but we believe much, much better and stronger. For those of you who aren't as familiar with the Chicagoland Food and Beverage Network, we are a mission-driven industry organization that leverages the power of the incredible food and beverage industry in Chicagoland. That is 4,500 companies and 130,000 people to do some pretty amazing things. That's build the industry, drive growth and innovation, create jobs, and ultimately give back. These logos are the incredible members who make up our network. Some have stuck with us through thick and thin, and many are new as well. So it's always exciting to continue to thrive and grow as things continue. So again, thanks to these incredible companies and their incredible support, and thanks to all of you for that, for your ongoing support and giving into the network. In addition, last year we launched a sister organization, a charitable organization called Bigger Table. It brings together that same incredible food and beverage industry of Chicagoland to address challenges in our local communities, specifically food insecurity, unemployment, and inclusive economic development. We encourage you to donate today to support area food banks. We are currently creating 300,000 servings of healthy food that will be donated to food banks later, actually it'll be early February, and much needed by the food banks, who are really just seeing unprecedented demand for their services. The link is all here. I'll be more than happy to share all of that with you. Also, for those of you who aren't members of Chicagoland Food and Beverage Network or want to learn more about Bigger Table, please reach out. Always room for more members. We also encourage you to get social and talk about what you're seeing and continue the conversation we start here in LinkedIn, sort of our key channel, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And feel free to use our hashtag and all that exciting social media stuff. We love to interact. We're going to start this morning with a conversation with Joel Warady, who is the president of Catalina Snacks and also the chairman of the Chicagoland Food and Beverage Network. Joel, will you join us? There you are. Good morning.
Good morning, Alan. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. 2021's gotten off to a booming start. How about for you?
Absolutely. It's hard to believe it's only January 14th with all that's going on in the industry as well as in our company as well.
Couldn't agree more. So let's dive right in. So how do you feel the food and beverage industry sort of weathered 2020, and what's your outlook for 2021?
All in 10 minutes, right?
All in 10 minutes.
I think 2020 was certainly a year of haves and have-nots. I think we saw a lot of companies doing extremely well. CPG companies, especially the legacy CPG companies, many of whom are Chicago-based, like Mondelez and Kraft Heinz and Conagra, they all did really well because of stay-at-home and people cooking and eating at home. I think what we're seeing in 2021 is it's continuing. We're seeing that stay-at-home mindset is continuing to grow ingredient purchases, and people are continuing to change their habits. They're eating breakfast at home a lot more. So, we're seeing food production continuing to go up in 2021. And I'm very bullish on what the year looks like with some changes in people's habits. So for example, just taking a look at where we see pent-up demand. I think the elephant in the room is the vaccination. There's no question we've had a slow start in getting people vaccinated, not only here in Illinois, but throughout the country. But we do believe that is continuing to pick up, and we're going to see more and more people vaccinated. So I think that has created a pent-up demand to eat out and go to restaurants. And one of the things we're going to see is that probably in end of Q2, beginning of Q3, restaurants are going to really start to see a major uptick. I think we're going to see some changes. So for instance, for those of you who are too young to remember, we used to have restaurants that had smoking and non-smoking sections. And you would tell the person when you're being seated where you'd like to sit. I think we're going to have a question is, are we going to have vaccinated and non-vaccinated?
Wow.
And there's been discussion on the legality of it. That is legal to do. So will you have to show evidence of vaccination to sit in one area of the restaurant or versus the other? Or will restaurant owners be able to not invite you into the restaurant if you're not vaccinated? I think these are all questions that we have to look at when it comes to restaurants. But because restaurants are going to see an uptick, I think we're going to see all universities and colleges and schools open up full in Q3 of this year. Food service is a real good bet this year. I think we're going to see a huge increase in food service. I'm going to stop there for a second and see if you have other questions about.
Yeah, so I agree with you on pent up demand. Like everybody I've talked to is waiting to plan that big trip. So I feel like the sort of the tourism and hospitality world is going to explode. So again, not just restaurants, but all of those things. And of course, those are linked together, right?
Yeah, now I think some other things that we're seeing, and again, I talked about 2020 being a year of haves and have-nots. I think people's habits are changing, and if anything, what Corona has done is it's accelerated technology that was already going to happen, but it's accelerated it much faster. So it was interesting that last year, while supermarkets were doing extremely well, selling a lot of food and beverage products, we saw supermarkets declare bankruptcy. Markets like Lucky's Market in the West, Earth Fare, Fresh Market declared bankruptcy. Yet at the same time, as we speak, Instacart is talking about doing an IPO within the next couple months at a valuation of $30 billion.
Wow.
That's 30 billion with a B. And if you think about what Instacart owns, they own no stores, no real estate, no warehouses. They don't even own the cars that are delivering. They put that burden on the employees. What they own is technology and a brand to deliver food and beverage. And so when you think about a $30 billion valuation, what it's showing is that we're seeing a shift in how people are purchasing food and beverage products and how they're consuming them.
I do a lot more Instacart if they could just actually get my order right, but that's a whole other thing, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with the company itself and their $30 billion valuation. So what other sort of things, what other guideposts are you going to be looking for in 2021 for also yourself personally, but more importantly, your business?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we're concerned about is supply chain. We're seeing, we saw it starting in the back half of last year, and we're already seeing it at the start of this year. There are supply chain issues. Prices are going up.
Mm-hmm.
Corrugate, we're seeing corrugate costs go up 5 to 10%.
Right.
That is going to remain throughout the year. We're seeing major supply chain issues with Asia on ingredients. So it's a combination of ingredient production as well as there are still major issues with ports and having enough people working on the docks. So that's both in the United States in unloading as well as in Asia in loading. So we're seeing slowness on supply chain. We think that omni-channel is again changing the way companies are spending their money. So if you think about it, for CPG companies, you used to spend trade dollars in store. But today, what you have to worry about is I've got to split my trade dollars between in-store displays, curbside pickup, as well as things like Instacart. Yet the trade budgets have not gone up. So we're seeing a shift in how promotional dollars are being spent. And then, I think one of the other things that we're seeing that I think is going to be interesting is, where does cryptocurrency fit in our future? We're starting to see Visa and MasterCard have credit cards that are tied to cryptocurrency. We have yet to see any major retail chains be willing to accept cryptocurrency and Bitcoin as payment. But I don't know if you saw towards the end of 2020, some of the major NFL athletes are now being asked to be paid in Bitcoin.
I didn't see that. Interesting.
So I do think what we're going to see at some point this year, and then certainly as we run into the end of 2021, 2022, we're going to start seeing, because of technology, companies starting to accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as payments.
Very interesting. Love that. One final question, just sort of in wrap up. We've talked about sort of how pieces of the industry are going to change. Which consumer habits that we've watched change are here to stay? So, I mean, I've started to learn to cook again because I can definitely order out, but wow, that gets old after a time. But wow, I had to remind myself how to cook. But what of those things do we think are here to stay? And I'll say sort of consumer eating and eating patterns. Are they going to keep eating keto? Are they?
Yeah, well, I think people are always interested in their health. So I think, whether they're eating gluten-free or keto or some other moniker that's being used, I think the reality is what people are looking at is, I want to eat healthier products and I want to have a healthier lifestyle. It doesn't mean they're not going to continue to drink beer and eat pizza. Everyone cheats as they're trying to eat healthy. I do think one of the things that we're seeing that will stay is there will be more eating at home. And that is driving some of the M&A that we're seeing. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that there is a lot of money in the market that is going into food and beverage. And again, we're very bullish on companies, both big and small. Just recently, we saw McCormick purchase Chicago-based or Geneva-based Fona Ingredients for $700 million plus. Mondelez, local company, just bought Hu, which is a chocolate and cracker company in the healthy space. They valued it at about $340 million. So there's big money going into the space. And we see a lot of venture capital going in. Outstanding Foods just raised $10 million in a Series B. Partake Foods just raised $4.8 million. So we're seeing money on the M&A side and on the venture side. Food is hot. Food and beverage is hot, and it continues to see a lot of investment activity.
I couldn't agree more. The world has changed a lot, but one of the things that was certainly true was that people still have to eat. It's such a basic truth, and as many others have reminded me, while there's been sort of bright spots and dark spots within food and beverage, we have bright spots. There are whole industries that have very few bright spots. Food, again, it's mixed, but at least it's mixed, and that's an exciting place to build from.
Absolutely. If I had to invest in Peloton or eating, I'm going eating.
Maybe both. A little diet and exercise never goes out of style, right? So, right. Joel, thank you so much. Terrific and insightful comments.